If you guys have followed the Brock Purdy discourse back to when he came in against the Dolphins in 2022, you know that one way for these pundits to get their name out there is to talk about Brock Purdy. It's actually something that we have chronicled quite a bit over Brock Purdy's tenure with the San Francisco 49ers, leading up to his 5-year, $265 million contract. And naturally, we understand where the conversation flows from that. Does Brock Purdy deserve that big of a payday? Does he deserve to be ranked, I believe, seventh in annual average per year salary at 53 million? Yeah, a lot of conversations have stemmed from that. And TJ Houshmandzadeh, who has played the NFL at a high level and for a long time, was a really solid wide receiver with the Bengals. And he's actually Brandon Ayuk's, wide receiver coach, mentor, kind of a guy. I've actually spoke to Hoosh at the Super Bowl, and he gives a take. But I also have a take on his take. So take a listen to what he had to say right here.
I believe they did overpay for Brock Purdy. I would have given Brock Purdy $47 million a year. That would have been the most I'm giving him. I needed you. We needed you last year. You went 1-6 against playoff teams when we had guys hurt. Christian McCaffrey was out, Trent Williams was out, Ayuk got hurt, and you couldn't really get it done. I think Brock Purdy is a hell of a quarterback, but I'm not giving you money when you show me when we need you to take over, you can't take over. We need you to carry us, you can't carry us. But at one point, they said Jalen Hurts was overpaid. Now, Jalen Hurts is underpaid. Win a Super Bowl with the Eagles, now you underpaid. And so if Brock Purdy takes the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl and they win it, then his contract is well worth it. Until he does that, he's overpaid.
Again, I love Hoosh. I think he's a great guy. And these guys, it's the off season, topics are very few and far in between. It's kind of the lull period of the NFL as we get kind of into OTAs, mandatory minicamp, and then it's going to be kind of what I like to call the dead zone of NFL content. But of course, the 49ers pay Brock, and you got people giving their opinions on it. And I think where Hoosh loses me, and obviously you guys know I like Brock Purdy. I think that the contract that Brock got is good for Brock and good for the 49ers. I think it's good. It's literally a win-win for both of them. And then you hear Hoosh go, well, I would like this deal if it was at 47 million per year on average. Why? First of all, we've been talking about contracts for a long time. The APY is one of the most, I think, insignificant metrics when it comes to evaluating contracts. It's how it's discussed in the media. They show the rankings, but it's like there's so many different ways of how these contracts equal that APY. Not all contracts are built the same. They don't have the same language. They don't have the same guarantees, all those different types of things. And so when you get into the details of the contract, Brock Purdy is guaranteed $100 million at signing with the ability to earn up to 181 and also injury guarantees. So from that standpoint, it's a pretty solid deal, but the 49ers have flexibility in this deal. They have the opportunity to reevaluate in 2027. They could potentially get out of it if they want, restructure. There's a lot of different elements to this deal that work for everyone on for both parties. It gives Brock the security and everything that he needs and what he's earned up until this point. And it also gives 49ers flexibility down the road, not only to continue to build their roster, but to decide if if they want to re-up on the Brock Purdy contract in a couple years. So, but as it stands right now, they're locked in. And so when Hoosh says, if it's 47 opposed to 53, what? We're talking big business in the NFL, and we're going to penny pinch over APY. And like that's where it just feels like he's just saying something to say it, like. And then the rationale is, well, look at what happens when the entire team was decimated. Look at what happens when they had to sign two players off the street and insert them into their starting offensive line the same week. It's like, I know Hoosh is smarter and a smart football mind and things like that. But it's like when we use these like it's almost like media talking points, media narratives. Like these are the things that you touch on when talking about, like, Brock Purdy didn't have his starting wide receiver. He didn't have his starting running back. He didn't have his starting left tackle. And then lost pretty much his entire offensive line as a result due to more injuries. Um, yeah, I think the team would struggle. I think the team would struggle in that regard, regardless of who you are. I mean, didn't the Bengals go 8-9 last year with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki and Brown at running back? Like they're pretty solid. Um, and it's just like I'm tired of the narrative that because the 49ers utterly collapsed from an injury standpoint, from a mental vibe standpoint, uh, defense was in shambles. There's no complimentary football to be found on this team. That somehow that's all on Brock Purdy. And again, I've watched every game. I was there all last year, and what you get stuck at this time of the year is revisionist history. It's like, what are the high level kind of points that you remember that, oh, we're going to dig our feet into and be like, this is the truth, this is how it happened, this is fact. And it's just like, it's not. I mean, the 49ers had an opportunity um to get into the playoffs. Who dropped the touchdown pass that, or potential touchdown pass? It was Debo on a in breaking route that could have potentially put them in a position to win that game. But it's like, oh, but because Brock threw the pick at the end of the game while getting hit and just kind of put it out there and it got picked off, it's like, well, see, this is why you don't pay Brock, because Brock can't win late. It's just like, football to me is such an interconnected sport, and when people try to simplify it to push a narrative without associating context, it's where I get lost in a lot of takes. It's because it's like the arguments that Hoosh uses are so surface level. They're so cookie cutter, high level. Like anyone could say what he said. Um, yeah, it's just like, it's not a compelling argument to me. Um, so I guess that's all I have to say about it. Again, I think Hoosh is a great guy. I think he's a solid football mind, and nothing against him. I just, think it's a super high level kind of like, all right, we're gonna put you on TV. Here's our talking points. These guys are gonna take the stance of it's a good deal for Brock. You're gonna take the stance of why it's not a bad deal for Brock. Here's some key points to mention. It's honestly all it feels like. So, not surprised to see that type of those talking points out there, but again, I think this is a good deal for both sides. I think Brock won on this. I think the 49ers won on this. I don't think they're at all going to run into any type of situations that Dak Prescott has put the Cowboys in regards to building the roster. The 49ers can afford it. The cap space is only going to continue to rise. The APY is so insignificant, and in 2 to 3 years will look like a massive bargain, because the average is probably going to be in the mid 60s or higher coming up here with some of these deals that are going to get paid out. So I'm not worried about it. I think the 49ers have the opportunity right now to continue to do what they need to do moving forward, and just definitely not looking at these deals like the way that they're being presented. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about what he had to say. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.